Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Oh. Hold my beer for a minute. I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning. Oh, and this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back. Moving on till I get it all. And we all got dreams. We all want things. But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe we can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? Yeah, this is my life, my strife, my right to fight, to die on. And this is my game to play, to claim a brand new name. Oh. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm a bit nervous that I might screw everything up that I've ever done. But what's the point of living if you ain't having fun? I guess I'll try this, try that, might miss, gotta find what I'm good at. I guess I look here, look there, over where am I scared, where am I at? I gotta make it in this life, whatever makes me happy, know I'm doing things right. Sipping in the summer on a goose and Sprite, or find a nightclub for the end of the night, oh. And we all got dreams, we all want things. But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe we can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be?
Check, check. Check, check, check. Check, check. And now, Mike's thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, look, I get it. It's cold outside. It's a little bit of snowy outside. But I'm going to say it. I hate the cold. Every single year, people act like the snow is some magical winter wonderland. Oh, look, it's so pretty. Pretty gnome in frozen misery falling from the sky. You know what I see when it snows? I see icy driveways, I see dead batteries, I see 15 extra minutes scraping my windshield with the frozen credit card because I lost my ice scraper again. And I don't even get me started about the first step outside in the morning. You take a breath and your soul freezes. It gets so punched out of your body. You're like, oh, what happened to my life? The cold was the audacity to make a question every life choice. Like, why do I really live here? Why don't I just move to Florida when I have the chance? Truth be told, right now, Florida is 30 degrees and Alaska's 40. Then you got the people who say, I love winter sports. I love skiing. I love snowboarding. I love hockey, whatever. Shut up, baby. You are basically paying money to fall down on frozen hill, pretending you're having fun while the frostbite is setting in. Meanwhile, I'm out here just trying to survive my walk from work to the house in the mountains without slipping and falling like a cartoon character on a banana peel. Oh, in the snow? Oh, don't get me started about the snow. It's so peaceful until you have to shovel it. You ever feel pain in your lower back to give way halfway through the driveway? That's not peaceful, that is pain. And then after you finish, the plow comes by like 5 minutes later and dumps mountains of snow right back to the end of your driveway, and now it's becoming personal. Now we have a problem, Mr. Snowplow Man. And so, no, I don't want to hear about, it's not that cold. It builds character. The only thing it builds is rage and my heating bills. The only thing it builds is my hatred for winter each and every morning. Give me sunshine, sweat, and a lawn chair any day of the week. Keep your snowflakes and ice storms up north, because quite frankly, I am freaking done with it. Cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Our Nation! Rise up.
Every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that. Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzz beaters. We coming live, all 3 speakers go.
Nation, guys, Michael Buckhouse here at the Man Hour Show, the manhourradio.com. That is where you can find all the exclusive merchandise, the fresh blogs, and everything is happening with the Man Hour Show. So if you're rocking the Man Hour, guys, that is a spot to rep it. But guys, welcome to Man Hour NFL Talk, guys. Your go-to spot for live, raw, uncut NFL talk, and I'm so glad you are rolling with us today. But guys, make sure you hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to make sure you never miss a live interactive show. That's the easiest way to stay plugged into us. But, if you want the full Man Hour experience, guys, become a Pigskin Pundit. There's a members-only community. You get free entry into the weekly NFL pick'ems, giveaways, exclusive merchandise, which is about to get hit the mail, and then bonus live streams that only our Pigskin Pundits get. So if you want that next level access, guys, join the squad today. Now remember, this is a live throughout the show, so drop your thoughts, your opinions, and your takes down in the comments below, because I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you, Mr. Old Man River. He says the Colts are clicking, baby. You need to slow it down there, man. You need to slow it down, because as the Colts are clicking, as the Colts are playing good football, as the Colts are kind of like, I don't know what to do with my body too much anymore. Truth be told, guys, the Colts, what's the word I'm looking for? They're fugazi. They're overrated. They're fool's gold. Guys, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. Guys, I told you that the Indianapolis Colts are fool's gold. Yes, I was buying the hype on early. Yes, I was loving the 4-1 record. Yes, I was loving 5-5-1 record. I was loving the fast start, the flashy record, the feel-good headlines. But when I start giving in deeper, when I started digging deeper into the Indianapolis Colts the last few weeks, when I started to go back and watching the film of the Indianapolis Colts, once I started peeling back the layers of the Indianapolis Colts, guys, what you see isn't a contender. What you see is not a Super Bowl-bound team in the Indianapolis Colts. What you see is not a team that is poised to make greatness. What you see is a team that is Fugazi, fool's gold, not pretenders. Guys, it's a good time to team with a lot of character. The Indianapolis Colts are a team with a lot of cracks. The Indianapolis Colts are a lot of team that just what's the word I'm looking for? Fugazi. Let me read that word again. Fugazi. They're fool's gold, they're fake. Guys, on Sunday, the Indianapolis Colts escaped with the Atlanta Falcons with a 27-21 win over the Atlanta Falcons. But let's be real. They escaped because of one man and one man only. Mr. MVP himself, not Daniel Jones. Jonathan freaking Taylor put some respect on his name. The dude absolutely went off. 240 plus yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, and an 83-yard touchdown house call that looked like something out of Madden. The man stepped up, looked to the left, looked to the right, dusted off the left, wrote a love letter to his wife, bada bing, bada boom, gone. Guys, that was one of the best individual performances I've seen the entire NFL season. He even broke Marshall Faulk's franchise record with the most scrimmage yards in a single game. But guys, here's the issue. Here's the issue that the Colts needed every single one of those yards to just barely beat the Atlanta Falcons. A team that's been inconsistent at best, banged up, and struggling for weeks on end. Guys, if it wasn't for Taylor going nuclear, the Colts would have been heading into their bye week on a 2-game losing streak. And if you guys remember, just last week we had a panic or patience. As my chair starts to fall down, I apologize. We had a panic or patience. If they were to lose this game, full-out panic mode, they may not have won another game. Guys, the ugly truth is, let's get the heart out of it. Let's stop this feel-good story. Let's stop saying, oh, it's Indianapolis Colts, we love them. Take the heart out of it. Guys, this team has problems. Big problems. Daniel Jones might have gutted it out with the bloody mouth and all, whatever, right? But he was sacked. He was pressured consistently, and he turned the ball over yet again. 1 pick, 3 fumbles, and somehow only one of them got hurt. One of them got picked up, right? You cannot win consistently with that kind of play. The protection's a little bit shaky. It's a little bit shaky, right? The protection is terrible. Turnovers are piling up, and then they went 2 for 12 on 3rd down. That is brutal. Guys, this offense is broken. The only thing holding it together right now is Jonathan Taylor's MVP superhuman performance. Guys, that's not a formula for long-term success. And when you look at the Colts, we talked about this last week. Look at who they beat. Now, on the surface, the Broncos and the Bears games are a hell of a lot better, right? But back then, Broncos were dog shit bad. The Chicago Bears were dog shit bad. But then they beat the Raiders, which are dog shit. The Dolphins were terrible. Teams are they're just not that good. You pad the win column with those kind of games, sure. But when it comes to facing elite competitions, the cracks show and start to show bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, to be fair, guys, they're not a horrible team. To be fair, they are not a top 10 draft pick team in 2026. To be fair, they're an average team that beats bad teams and struggles against good ones. Now, the mirage is here. I know some Colt fans are saying, we're contenders. We got Hart, we got Tree, and we got JT. And look, I love Jonathan Taylor. Guys, he is an MVP caliber player right now. Matter of fact, he should win the MVP. But one running back can't carry a flawed roster forever. If Taylor doesn't go off like that, they lose the game. It's simple as that. So before we start crowning Indy as legit AFC threats, let's pump the brakes. Let's slow it down, baby. The record might look pretty, but it's fool's gold. Guys, the truth is, the Colts are just the middle of the pack team. They're riding a few highlight reels with one superhuman running back. They beat bad teams, and they make it interesting against good ones. But when the lights are bright and the pressure is on, that's when it really hits. And guess what? I told you so. I've been telling you this for many, many weeks. Guys, the Colts are fool's gold. Jonathan Taylor is a superstar, but the rest of the roster is average at best. Indy can keep stacking up against wins against bad teams, but when they face real competition, they get exposed. Rams, Steelers, you can throw the Falcons in there as well. But in our nation, guys, let me ask you this question. Do you guys still believe that the Indianapolis Colts are legit contenders, or are they just riding another average team with one great player? Guys, subscribe, hit the like button. Remember, we're live Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. East Coast time right here at youtube.com. Now, join the conversation because this is a live, interactive show. I want to hear from you. WRA Tower says JT was balling like a man. He was, man. JT, man, this chair is terrible. Eventually, I'm going to get a new one. Eventually. But listen, WRA Tower, welcome back, man. It's been a little bit since we've seen you here. Welcome back. But the truth of the matter is, yes, you are right. JT was balling. JT was the man on the mission. JT said, give me that ball, and oh, by the way, give me the ball some more. Because that is what he was all about. He was all about, give me the ball, and let me take it to the moon, baby. And that's exactly what he did. 244 yards, I believe it was. 3 touchdowns. Man, that 83-yard run, I was getting my son ready for a basketball game, and I just saw him walk up. I'm like, oh, Jesus, here we go. Same old Colts, right? And then all of a sudden, I was like, what? He's gone? He's gone? What? It was awesome. It was amazing, right? WRL Tower also says the same Falcons team, the same Falcons team my Dolphins wrecked. Exactly. Like, honestly, WRA Tower, this might be one of the most unpredictable NFL seasons of like all time, right? Because the Falcons lose to the Miami Dolphins, but then the Falcons beat the Buffalo Bills. I mean, of course, that makes a little bit of sense, right? The Dolphins, just there's so much parity and so much like triangular stuff happening in the NFL. I lost my train of thought for a second, but yeah, the Falcons are just not that good. And Old Man River says they have a very favorable schedule, and you know what? They do, because when you are a second, third place team in your division year after year after year, you tend to get those favorable schedules, right? And if we look at the Colts schedule moving forward, first of all, they've already played the Titans twice, the worst team in the NFL. They played the Dolphins, absolutely steamboated them. The Raiders are not very good. Sorry, Old Man River. The Cardinals definitely not living up to expectations. I had them as a sleeper wild card team. But moving forward, they do have a very, very tough slate of games. They have a bye week this week, but then they play the Kansas City Chiefs. And then they play a surging Houston Texans team, which we're going to talk about the Houston Texans here in a little bit. The Jaguars, right? Seahawks, very, very good. The 49ers, pretty damn good. And then you end the season with Jaguars and Texans. So sitting at 8 wins right now, you beat the teams that you were supposed to beat. You beat the Jaguars twice. You beat the Houston Texans twice. Bada bing, bada boom. That's a 12-win season. And that wins the NFC, or that wins the AFC South. That gets you into the playoffs. And that potentially gets you home field advantage. Because right now the AFC is very, very paired. Very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like there's definitely parity across the AFC right now. Maximus is back in the chat today. What's up, Maximus? He says, Colts are not legit. They got a regular season pieces, not Super Bowl pieces. You know what? That might be the best analogy, the best, what's the, man, I am lost for words of that. That is the best way to put the Indianapolis Colts. They have legit regular season pieces, just not Super Bowl pieces, and that could not be more right. Let me get the chat up there. Why is the chat? I don't know. It is what it is. Whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, that is a perfect analysis of the Indianapolis Colts. I like that. Make playoffs and get blown out. Probably. Old Man River says the Colts will make the playoffs, but they'll get blown out. Much like the Broncos last year, much like the Chargers last year, much like the Houston Texans the last 2 seasons, right? Making the playoffs. Oh, we here, baby. We here. Nope, sorry. Get your ass whooped. WRA Tower says, happy to finally see you live again. Been working like a dog. Listen, man, we've been going through some ups and downs here on the Man Hour. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong. Was it 2 weeks ago? The main streaming computer, which is right back here, broke. Said, I'm not going to work anymore. I took it to work. I worked on it. I got it working, and then all of a sudden we brought it back here, hooked it up, ready to go. I just, nope, not going to work. So we're on the laptop. The music does not quite correlate with I don't know what's going on with like the music, but we are here. We're live when we're uncut. I'm super glad you're back, man. And Old Man River says they're Fugazi all day long. And then we got Mellow Mike in the chat today as well. It says Texans all day, baby. Mellow Mike, I want you to see this little rundown right here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 more segments to go before we talk about your Houston Texans. Talk about playoff bound Houston Texans, I might add. Mellow Mike, I might be bought in with your team. Your team might be moving on up. WRA Tower says that Seahawks are a problem. FAFO with that team. I think that means fuck around and find out, right? Listen, the Seahawks are a problem. Matter of fact, we have talked about the Seahawks several times on this show. When they traded for Shaheed, right? If I say that name right, Shaheed from the Saints. I'm like, oh shit, baby. They're about to go to the moon. Now, it's going to take a couple weeks, but it did not take a couple weeks. It took like 2 days. Bada bing, bada boom. They off. Much like the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Don't be dogging my Kansas City Chiefs, man. Don't be dogging my Kansas City Chiefs. We had a bye week. Yeah, we 5-4. We still a game above 500, unlike your Houston Texans. But you know what? It is. And Mellow Mike says McDonald's is a hell of a coach. Jackson Smith Najigba is balling. So let's talk about this a little bit. Because I was talking with some Seahawks fans, because obviously Seahawks fans do not get a lot of love, right? So usually when people are talking about the Seahawks, it's like, oh, they blew it, oh, they suck, they're this and this and this. But when you get a little bit of hype around the Seattle Seahawks, their fans flock and they love it, which fair weather fan base, whatever you want to call it. But long story short, when we spoke about the Seattle Seahawks last Thursday or Wednesday, I can't remember what day it was. The simple fact of the matter is that they were eating it up. They loved it. And many of their fans pointed out that Jackson Smith Najigba is putting up MVP numbers while being doubled and triple teamed play after play after play. Then you make that trade for arguably one of the best deep threats in the NFL right now. One of the most underrated deep threats in the NFL right now in Shaheed. Am I saying that name right? Shaheed? And I was like, well, there's a reason why we haven't really heard much about him. Yeah, he's 29 years old. He's on his last year of his deal. Is he really going to stay? But then he started saying all the right things. I want to be here long term. I love it here. And of course, it's fair weather, whatever. He's been there for like a day and he's saying this. I'm like, well, come on, slow it down. But then we saw that game Sunday versus the Arizona Cardinals. We saw that game Sunday versus the Arizona Cardinals. It was like 40-0, like half. It was something ridiculous, right? They're literally blowing them out of the water. And I sat there and I watched the all 2022 view of that film. And safeties, defenses in general, are now having to shift their coverage from double and tripling team from Jackson Smith Najigba to having to look at for that other side. Guys, the Seahawks are going to be a real problem. Now, I'm not saying they're a Super Bowl bound team as of right now, but they are a real problem. If they keep the momentum building, they could be a problem next season, year after that, the year after that, and the year after that. I think they have about a 4 to 5 year window where they could be a real big problem. However, the biggest problem with the Seattle Seahawks is going to be Sam Darnold. Because the same thing happened with the Minnesota Vikings last season. Sam Darnold was balling out all year long, flying under the radar, and then all of a sudden the light started shining a little bit brighter. All of a sudden, it was gut check time. All of a sudden, it was all on the line. Win this game, you win the NFC North. You win the first place overall seed. Front line to the championship. What does he do? He shits the bed. Absolutely shits the bed, 100%. And then on that same note, the following week, wild card game versus the LA Rams, shits the bed yet again. So as Sam Darnold continues to shit the bed in the playoffs, we might be seeing old Milroe before this window is absolutely closed. So we'll definitely excited to see what the Seattle Seahawks have to do or bring to the table once the playoffs do start, because they definitely are probably going. I'm going to change my pick, and I think they're going to win the NFC West now. Mellow Mike says the same Chiefs who lost to the Jaguars who we beat. Give me an excuse, Buck. We're going to be talking about you Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. However, is it Christmas week? Christmas week, we will definitely have a little friendly rivalry. Maybe we got shade the beards, man. I don't know. We'll think of that. Mellow Mike says Jackson Smith the Big was smooth as silk. With that route running is damn. Listen, everything about him is very, very nice. Everything about him is top notch. Maximus says, all I can say is Jerry Jeudy is back. He's shown why he's clears Jackson Smith-Njigba in the top 5 receiver. What? So, the reason why Maximus brings this up for the people that are not been around for a while. Old Man River, Mr. Pigskin Punny himself.
Pigskin pun. Get you some.
Said that Jerry Jeudy was a top 10 quarterback. A wide receiver. Saying that Jerry Jeudy was the man, the myth, the legend. And then I went around from division to division, just off the top of my head, no particular order. I had Jerry Jeudy not even thought about in the top 10. Maybe pushing 15, maybe a little bit lower. And honestly, I didn't even have Jackson Smith-Njigba up in the top 10 either. He didn't even cross my mind when going through the NFC West, right? Because you had Devontae Adams, you had Puka, you had Marvin Harrison Jr. Hell, maybe Cooper Kupp can come back and do his thing. Jackson Smith-Njigba never crossed the mind. So next week, actually Friday night, we will do our first Friday night show of the year this week. And we will revisit the top 10 receiver list, right? We will revisit that top 10 receiver list and see how it shakes out. Mellow Mike says Seahawks get too high shell coverage, too high shell or cover 3 to take away the deep pass. They going to feed AJ Branner underneath. They got options. Do not forget about their tight end as well. That let me pull up his names just so I can give him a little bit love. There it is. Boom. It's not Noah Fan anymore. It is the AJ Barner guy. Yeah, that tight end AJ Barner is going to get some love. He's definitely going to get he's going to get open, right? Because hell, Noah Fant last year ate a little bit. So if you guys are on fantasy football, pick him up. I'm sure he is. Week 14, Chiefs versus Texans. Lunch pail game. It is going to be a lunch pail game. It is going to be one hell of a game. But speaking of hell, the Carolina Panthers, guys, I don't know what to say about the Carolina Panthers, but I'm not buying the hype anymore. Guys, Man Hour Nation, let's talk about the Carolina Panthers, because the hype is just over. The hype was so blown out of proportion, and they just need to slow it down, baby. But yes, I get it. They're sitting at 5-5. On paper, this looks like progress. On paper, this looks like a team that's turning the corner, but let's call it what it is. It's fool's hope. It's Fugazi. It's fool's gold. Guys, the Panthers might be average in the standings, but on the field, they're not there yet. Guys, last week, 2 weeks ago, everyone was ready to crown this team for turning the corner as they pulled off what is arguably the biggest win under their new head coach's year. The vibes were good. Fans were talking about playoffs. The media started throwing around phrases like the dark horse contender. And then Sunday happened. They came home to face the 1-8 New Orleans Saints. A team that's been flat out bad, a mess of a season, and they laid an egg, completely lifeless, no energy, no rhythm, no spark. By the end of the day, guys, the home crowd was booing, and rightfully so. The Panthers scored 7 points. Bryce Young turned the ball over twice. Rico, their new feature running back, was all balled up all afternoon. You can't call yourself a playoff team when you can't take care of business against a one-win team opponent. You cannot call yourself a playoff team when you play shit football versus even a shittier football team. Guys, let's get to the heart of it. The Panthers don't have a quarterback to take them anywhere where they want to go. As simple as that. Bryce Young is not him. Not is and never will be. When the running game works, this team looks balanced. They can control the tempo, open up play action, and let Bryce Young make some easy reads. But the moment the run game stalls, it all falls apart. Guys, the Saints sold out to stop the running game for the Carolina Panthers. Rico was held to 53 yards on 18 carries. That's 2.9 yards per carry. Once that happened, Carolina had no answers. Bryce Young finished with 17 for 25 for only 124 yards. No touchdowns, no rhythm, no execution. He was pressured 13 times, sacked repeatedly, and looked uncomfortable from the start to the finish. Looked like old Bryce Young. Guys, let's be honest. When the game is on Bryce Young's shoulders, the Panthers just don't win. He is now 2-15 in games where Carolina's under 70 yards in the first half. That's not a coincidence. That's a straight pattern. And I get it. He's still young. He's still developing, learning, whatever. Yada, yada, yada. Give me all the excuses. But we're talking about growth anymore. We're talking about production. We're talking about results. Guys, the Panthers are not built to win if their quarterback has to make plays. And in today's NFL, that's a fatal flaw. Now, I got to give credit where credit is due. Dave Cannells has brought structure and accountability to the Carolina Panthers. The defense has been solid at times. And when the run game clicks, this offense looks decent. But consistency matters. And that's what separates from playoff teams from pretenders. 6 times this season, the Panthers have scored 7 points or fewer in the first half. That's not a playoff plan. That's a red flag. They're still struggling in protection. They still commit untimely turnovers. And their quarterback still hasn't proven he can elevate the players around him. The truth is simple. Carolina is stuck in the middle. Good enough to hang around 500, but not good enough to make noise when it matters. And now the road gets a little bit tougher. They got Atlanta, they got the Rams, and they got the 49ers coming up before a bye week. And if they don't fix this offense issues quickly, it could spiral out of control fast like the same old Carolina Panthers. Now, don't get it twisted. The Panthers have talent, but they have no identity. They have effort, but they have no execution. And most importantly, they don't have a quarterback to carry them through the adversity. Guys, I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it with my chest. Bryce Young is not the answer in Carolina. Bryce Young is a bust in the NFL. Bryce Young will not get a deal, and he'll find himself in the on the retired list before his rookie contract is eventually up. Guys, the truth of the matter is the Panthers are not there yet. The record says 5-5, but the production on the field tells a still different story. Until Bryce Young proves he can win without a dominant run game, this team is stuck in neutral. Matter of fact, they're stuck in reverse. Matter of fact, they're still stuck in bust level with Bryce Young. But Man Hour Nation, do you think Bryce Young can still develop into a guy for Carolina? Or is it time to start looking over to the next quarterback, a.k.a. Arch Manning? Guys, subscribe, hit the like button. Remember, we're live Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. East Coast time, right here at youtube.com. So join the conversation because this is a live, interactive show, so comment down below. Maximus says, I am disappointed in the Panthers. I was really looking forward to seeing Bryce Young playoff debut. Sadly, this team will never be here. Bryce got to leave when his contract is up to have a chance. Exactly. Bryce Young is not the answer in Carolina. We saw that his rookie season. We saw that his second season. Last year was his third season, right, guys? Correct me if I'm wrong. But we saw him when he got benched for Andy Dalton. Yes, he come back when Andy Dalton got hurt because of a car wreck. I think it was, hurt his thumb. He looked a little bit better, looked a little bit more polished. This season looked a little bit more polished, a little bit of confidence. But you know what? It should have got off the pot time, and right now he is not shitting. He's all constipated up there. He had too much cheese. He had a little bit too much cheese, a little bit too much milk, and a little bit too much beer. So he's got the bubble guts happening. Like, ugh. Should have ate some pretzels, brother. But yes, Bryce Young has to lead the Carolina Panthers to the playoffs this season. Has to do well in that playoff debut to even have a think about extending him. Maybe a 1-year prove-it deal franchise tag, I don't know. But if they sign him to a long-term deal, they are in purgatory. They are the Chicago Bears 2.0. They are the Jacksonville Jaguars 3.0. They're just an average team. It is what it is. WRA Tower says, great to see you live again, Buck. Only for a minute. Hopefully I will be here more often. Good night, y'all. Listen, man, be safe out there. Be safe, be safe, be safe. I assuming you fix some towers. Maybe you change those light bulbs for like $10,000 at like a day. Hey, I don't envy you, but be safe and fins up, right? Fins up, fins up, fins up. And Wes is Texans in the chat. He says Tyler Shout though. Tyler though. Listen, Tyler Shout. We actually did I actually did a podcast with a Saints show earlier today. And I was looking up Tyler's stats. And no quarterback in Saints history, Drew Brees, Manning, list goes on and on and on, right? No quarterback in Saints history has done what Tyler Shout's done his first 2 games as a starter. He is balling. He is balling, he's balling, he's balling. Mellow Mike says, man, don't be dodging mini-me. The GOAT, the wee man of the NFL. Bryce Young is shit. Hey, maybe, just maybe, Kyler Murray and Bryce Young will flip-flop teams, and maybe they'll have success. Because Kyler Murray's done in Arizona. Bryce Young should be done in Carolina. And if that happens, bada bing, bada boom, hey, maybe, just maybe, we can have some success. But man, at Heart Nation, it's time we have a real conversation about the Chicago Bears. It is time we talk about the hype around the Chicago Bears. Guys, because I am not buying the hype. We all know what the Man-Hour Bible says. Thou shalt not trust the Chicago Bears until December. But man, everywhere I look, Chicago Bears, Chicago Bears, Chicago Bears, we're going to play out Super Bowl, man, slow it down, man. Yes, look, I get they won 6 of their last 7. Yes, I get it. Caleb Williams looks electric in the 4th quarter. And yes, the Bears have finally shown life after years of mediocrity. But let's be honest here. Let's be honest. The Bears are highly overrated. Guys, on Sunday, Chicago had to really ball out. They had to rally to beat the New York Football Giants. Let me say that again. They had to rally to beat the New York Football Giants. Now, I get it. I get what I said. I said the Giants are not the absolute worst team in the NFL. But they're not good either. Let's just be honest. And here's a stat that tells a story. The Giants have blown 4 double-digit leads this season, including that one on Sunday. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 double-digit leads going into the 4th quarter. That's ultimately why Brian Daboll got fired. But hey, that's a story for another day. So before we start crowning the Chicago Bears as a playoff lock, as a top team in the NFC, let's pump the brakes. They're winning, but they're not dominating. They're simply surviving. That is not sustainable football. Now look, this is how the game went down on Sunday. For the most of the contest, the Bears looked like a less luster team at best. Flat offense, shaky protection, and the defense that bent way too often. Caleb Williams had flashes of brilliance, but through 3 quarters, he was just much of the substance. He was just there. He was going through the motions. And then halfway through the 4th quarter, things suddenly clicked. Down 10 points with 6 minutes left, Caleb Williams led a 91-yard drive to make it close. Then the defense came up with a clutch, and then Caleb Williams drove 53 more yards for the go-ahead score. Sounds heroic, right? Because it was. It was a great 6 minutes. It was MVP level 6 minutes, but here's the problem. That's now 4 game-winning drives this season. And while that sounds great, it also means Chicago needs miracles just to win, much like the Denver Broncos. Caleb had to scramble for his life, make impossible plays, and literally put the entire team on his back. That's exciting football. It's fun to watch, but it's also a sign that everything else around him isn't working consistently. You can't rely on trick plays and last-minute magic weeks every week. That runs out fast. Ask the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now look, I will give them credit. Ben Johnson has these guys playing expired football. Rome Odunze finally came alive with 86 yards and a touchdown. And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson has been a fantastic pickup on that defense. And let's not confuse fun with formidable. Guys, the Bears' win has come during soft part of the schedule. The Bears are beating lackluster teams, and now it gets real. From here on out, outside of Week 15 versus the Cleveland Browns, every opponent has a winning record or is an NFC North rival. This means no more freebies, no more bad defense, no more teams that fold in the fourth quarter, like the New York Football Giants. If Chicago plays like they did against the Giants, those comebacks won't happen against elite teams like the Lions, Packers, or 49ers. This next stretch is where we find out if they're legit or if it was all smoke and mirrors. Remember, thou shalt not trust the Chicago Bears until December. And guess what? It is November 10th. Guys, the fact is the Bears are improved. They're still not there yet, but they're very, very much improved. Caleb Williams is electric, no doubt about it. But when you need him to play superhero ball every week just to survive, that is not a recipe for success. The Bears have become the kings of the comeback, but comebacks eventually run out. Trick plays, last-minute drives, and fourth-quarter magic will work against mid-tier teams, but when you start facing real contenders, you need consistency, not chaos. And that's where Chicago Bears still fall short. Guys, simply put, the Chicago Bears are overhyped. They've taken a step forward, but right now they're living on borrowed time. Heroic wins look great on the highlight reels, but the truth is, once the schedule tightens up, those close calls will start running into losses. But man, our nation, do you guys think the Bears are for real? Or are they just getting lucky before the reality hits in the second half of the season? Guys, subscribe, hit the like button. Remember, we're live Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. East Coast time, right here at youtube.com/manhour. So join the conversation, guys, because this is a live, interactive show. Now, out of the corner of my eye, I saw the comments starting to flow down a little bit. Let me scroll back up here. Mellow Mike says, slander. The Bears hired Ben Johnson to coach their little Jimmies. The Bears are back, baby. Bears are not back. The Bears are not back. Yes, they did beat a Super Bowl caliber team in the Dallas Cowboys, but let's just be honest. The Dallas Cowboys with defense was a little bit shaky in that game. They had no CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens was kind of hit or miss it like in that game. But if they were to play again next week, when Overshown comes back, baby, ooh, boy, Cowboys will whoop that ass. The Bears are done. Maximus says, watching the Bears games actually has been very entertaining recently. But those close games comebacks won't translate into playoff success. They can't rely on Caleb extending plays to win, especially in January, much like the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers, the last few seasons, living off the edge. The youngest team in the roster, or the youngest roster in the NFL, all that excuses out the window, right? But Jordan Love and the Packers were winning a lot of games because of the extending of the legs. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Now, the first game that Jordan Love played as a Green Bay Packer in the playoffs versus the Dallas Cowboys, they had an excellent running game. Matter of fact, I think Aaron Jones just scored another touchdown on the Cowboys from 2 years ago. It just is what it is, right? But DeAndre Swift better show up. Rome better show up. DJ Moore better show up. That defense better play lights out, because Caleb Williams, you are exactly right. Maximus cannot run for his life. Wes, what's up, man? Where's my... Nope. Must be inside. But guys, there's a reason why the Kansas City Chiefs do not have cracks in their foundation, because they went with elite concrete. They called Wes and said, hey, We need a solid foundation. What can you do for us? He's like, look, man, I got some rebar. I got a little bit of concrete. I got some time for you, baby. We're going to build that foundation, and we're going to go over the moon, baby. And that's exactly what the Kansas City Chiefs did. They call West. So guys, in the description below, click on Elite Foundation over there on Facebook. Give West a call for all your foundation needs. But West says Caleb is in a spot. Caleb is in a spot just like January Money Manziel. Win or bust only. Sucks, but that's the life of a high draft pick. To be fair. Caleb Williams is on his second coach in 2 years. Caleb Williams is on his third coach in 2 years. Caleb Williams is on his fourth offensive play caller in 2 years. So I think Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears and Ryan Poles, especially, understands that they have a nice foundation. When you look at the Chicago Bears offseason, they've done everything right. They had all those trades, all those pickups. None of them were flashy. None of them was a big DJ Moore trade. None of them was a big Keenan and Allen trade. It was offensive line. It was defensive front. It was depth. Guys, the Chicago Bears are doing everything right. And unfortunately for Caleb, I think he's getting a lot of the benefit of the doubt because the Chicago Bears fans are just tired of new coach, next year, new quarterback, new coach, quarterback. They're trying to break the groundhog cycle, and I think they finally have. Mellow Mike says, give me the team not named the Chase who say is not overrated. A team that's not overrated, the LA Rams, the Dallas Cowboys, the Titans are not overrated at all. Saints are not overrated. Jets are not overrated. Giants are not overrated. Patriots are definitely overachieving, I think. Wow, look at them. A team else is not overrated. There's a lot of teams in the NFL that are not overrated. How about some underrated teams, right? The 49ers are definitely an underrated team. Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm just kidding. Underrated. We can throw the Chicago Bears in there. A little bit underrated, maybe a little bit overhyped. I don't know. They're definitely overhyped. But no, the Kansas City Chiefs are not overrated. They're overhyped. Kansas City Chiefs are definitely overhyped, but they're not overrated. They're still a pretty damn good team. Wes says, it's because the other team has more numbers. See, Wes, that's the great thing about the NFL, is every team has 53 people. Well, I guess 54 if you count the emergency quarterback. And every team has 10 or 12 players on their practice squad. And every team has about 15 to 16, 17 coaches. So it's all not about numbers, baby. However, a lot of those players went to big number schools, so they had success. If you know, you know. Well, Mike says Super Bowl caliber team and the Dallas Cowboys hasn't been a thing for 30 years. Somebody call the Manor. This guy is delirious. Come on, man. You know the Cowboys are going to the moon. Soul Knife 20 says the Chicago Bears are doing everything right except winning. Wins will come. Wins will come. They are doing everything right. They are building the roster from the middle out, right? Meaning offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, running backs, not making splashy trades and acquisitions and that kind of thing. Building from within, much like the Colts do. Wins will come. The Chicago Bears and wins will come. Not this season, because they're probably going to lose the rest of the season. Let's just be honest about it. Maybe next year, maybe the year after that. Let's give Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and that core of the offense a year together, and then let's speculate. Bill Mike says, Jaguars, cough, coach job. Man, how do you give up? Was it 24-19? It was ridiculous. What says, I like the response. Facts are facts, homie. Facts are facts. Speaking of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Man Hour Nation, it is time to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it is time to get real about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Because they had a prime opportunity. A prime time opportunity to put the nail in the coffin, up double-digit lead versus the Houston Texans. With the backup quarterback, with a backup, the Houston Texans were left for dead. And they blew it. That kind of loss is everything you need to know about the Jacksonville Jaguars. They simply suck. Early on, things look good for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Matter of fact, they look great. They forced turnovers, they made big plays, and they controlled the game. They jumped out ahead big. They were dominating a Texas squad that was a spot where you expect them to take over. But then, nothing. The lead slipped. The momentum dried up. The defense, which should have locked it down, gave up ground. The offense, which should have closed the door, played safe. And the worst possible time, they let Houston come back and take over. Now look, the Jaguars have talent, no doubt about it. On the official watcher, you'll see names like Trevor Lawrence. You'll see names like Travis Etienne. You'll see receivers ready to make big plays, but talent alone isn't enough. When game day arrives and the team faces adversity, this roster doesn't need to be prepared. Yes, their starters are solid. Yes, the team on paper seems to be solid, but when you got to ask, do the backups, do the situational painters, does the depth matter when we lead evaporates? Because in the game versus Houston Texans, guys, it didn't look that way. Guys, I am done with the Jacksonville Jaguars hype. We keep saying, this is the team. Just because they beat one good team and had one flashy game versus the Kansas City Chiefs? Since that big win earlier this season, the Jaguars have been inconsistent at best. They look like a team that could be something, but don't look when a team that is something. Meaning, they step up against primetime opponents, but they can't beat shit guys like Houston Texans. Guys, here's the one thing. If the Jaguars are going to turn things around, they need to show up when it matters. Not just in the first half, just not in the second half, not just when things are going well. They need to show up when the backs are against the wall and when the secondary team is battling. And when the air gets tense, because right now they're not, they need to show up. But until they do, guys, I'm watching them like a team like I watch On the Brink. Hoping they'll surprise me, but expecting that they won't. Guys, the Jacksonville Jaguars had their chance. They had a lead, a matchup momentum. They wasted it. The talent is there. The execution isn't. And until execution improves, the hype means nothing about the Jacksonville Jaguars. Guys, simply put, the Jacksonville Jaguars had their shot to be AFC contenders. Simply put, the Jacksonville Jaguars had an opportunity to beat the Kansas City Chiefs and go on a winning streak and put some respect on their name, but they didn't, and they couldn't. But guys, do you think the Jacksonville Jaguars still has what it takes to turn their season around, or does this loss the one that breaks them? Guys, subscribe, hit the like button. Remember, we're live Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. East Coast time right here at youtube.com/Man Hour. Now, join the conversation because we all about it. We all about it. Davis Money Mills, says Mellow Mike. My man, a.k.a. Longneck Mills, had a legendary game. Listen, Davis Mills has been on the Texans for a long time. Wasn't he there when old Deshaun Watson was there? Right? He may have been a rookie, second-year player. But I've always kind of rooted for Davis Mills, right? I always kind of thought like he was going to be the next thing in Houston. Never really had that opportunity, never had that chance to flourish, right? But Davis Mills is not bad. Davis Mills is not bad. And to be honest, Davis Mills looked better in the Houston Texans offense than CJ Stroud did. Now, the real question is, Mellow Mike, and you Houston Texans fans in general, is let's say Davis Mills goes on a run a little bit because CJ Stroud is out with the concussion, right? The way they played against the Jaguars makes you feel a little bit more at ease, right? And then when you see the Houston Texans schedule, let's pull it up just so I'm just not speculating here, but they play the Titans, right? They play the Titans next, and then they play the Buffalo Bills on prime time. So that's Thursday. Do you rush CJ Stroud back against the Tennessee Titans? Absolutely not. But what if Davis Mills has another performance like he did? What if Davis Mills gets the Houston Texans up to 5-5? What if Davis Mills is on a 2-game winning streak and CJ Stroud is, what was he? He was on a loser of the last two of like 3. Do you keep Davis Mills in there? Do you keep Davis Mills in there, or do you trust CJ Stroud? Keep Davis Mills in there, right? Gotta keep the man in there. Let's go Sports is in the chat. What's up? Let's go Sports. He says never been on the Jags bandwagon. Not legit. Let me tell you a story of Let's Go Sports. Back in 1996, 1997, when the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Carolina Panthers came into the NFL world, right? I was on a 5th grade football team. We had 3 NFL stars on that said football team. We had Michael Washington at the time in high school. He changed his name to Michael Wilhoit. He was with the 49ers. We had Josh Freeman on that team. You guys know who Josh Freeman is, Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback, the Kansas State University, baby. And then we had a guy by the name of Jordy Nelson on that team as well. He obviously was a Green Bay Packer. When we were the Manhattan Jags back in the day, in 5th grade, into 6th grade, into 7th grade, ooh, I love me some Jacksonville Jaguars. Hey, we're just like the pro team, baby. But ever since then, ever since the Blake Bortles days, the Jaguars have just been meh. Never really good, but never really bad. Just never really hated them, but never really liked them. I never went out of my way to watch them. I don't know, it's just crazy. Mellow Mike says, Trevor Lawrence has no talent. The Jaguars have a head and shoulders model for quarterback. That man definitely doesn't use head and shoulders. He uses suave. Wes Sexton says you only need 15 yards so your kicker could win the game, but threw an interception. Liam was pissed. He threw his headset. Well, Wes, you know this better than everybody else. When you watch film and you know what the other team does, and you still call the same play and the wrong play, there's a reason to get upset. Not at yourself, but at the players, right? Shots fired. Well, Mike says, Texans put a clamp in the 4th quarter. 26 unanswered points. H-down, baby! My man's not wrong. My man is not wrong. Battery's at 42%. Should have plugged that bitch in. Mellow Mike says, I stopped in some Jags chat. Man, they turned on Trevor. That boy getting hate mail. So here's the deal with Trevor Lawrence. Right? Justin Herbert's kind of in the same boat. They have this unperceived expectations. Matter of fact, when Trevor Lawrence came into the NFL, I just started doing this podcasting business, right? I was on the backside being like a editor and a producer, whatever, yada, yada, yada. There was a guy on the show by the name of Wayne G. I was actually on his show. Him and his little pundit over there, forget his name. Mr. Steroid Boy, thought he was all big and buff and bad, but whatever. I digress. When Trevor Lawrence came out in that draft, they said, if you were to build a quarterback in the lab, you would build Trevor Lawrence. That was him coming out of Clemson, right? That he was getting drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars. He had all the hype in the world. They were supposed to take him to the moon because you got Trevor Lawrence. I believe he was a top 5 pick, right? And then you had a Travis Etienne. The Jaguars moved back up in the 1st round and drafted him. They had the Clemson cornerstones, guys. They got the running back. They got the quarterback. They got the receivers. They had everything. They're supposed to be legit. They're supposed to be great. But when you live off of this hype and you never perform, you make like you've been to the playoffs, twice? You're 1-1, and actually you have a losing record in the playoffs. You're 1-2. It's not good. And then you blow a lead. Granted, it's not just his, but it's a team, but it falls on Trevor Lawrence at the end of the day. You had a double-digit lead versus the Houston Texans, a team that was 3-5, a team that had a backup quarterback, a team that had no rhythm on offense. Yes, their defense is legit. And then you lose that game because you throw an interception? Yes, you're going to get hate mail, and rightfully so. You should get kicked in the teeth. Those pretty white teeth and that nice bold nose, break it. Break that man's nose. He's too pretty. And Wes says, if Mills wins, you ride the wave, baby. Who doesn't beat the Texans or the Titans, though? Let's just be honest. Mellow Mike says, if CJ is cleared, he plays. CJ was cooking before he got concussed. Davis knows his role. We pay him well to be a backup. Every game counts, so we got to keep our starters sharp. and start stacking wins. I would concur with that. But at the same time, it was a little bit iffy. A little bit, I don't know what to do. Definitely start my man Mills. Definitely start the man Mills. But guys, it is time for a little buy or sell. I'm trying to fix the sound, guys. I don't know what's going on, but as far as music goes, no bass. I don't know, guys. But it is time for buy or sell. And here's how it works. I'm going to throw out a bold take, a question, and it's up for us to decide if we're buying it or if we're selling it. You buying it, you mean you all in, you like the idea, you believe it, and it makes sense. But if you're selling it, oh, guess what? You out, baby. You don't like it. You are not convinced. You're shutting it down. So, guys, let's get into it. A little bit of buy or a little bit of sell. Looking for my charger. 1 second. All righty, guys. So we are back with buy or sell. I got the old charger out. We are good to go. Racing JV90 says sell the stream. Absolutely not. Worked hard to build our 6,000 viewers count. But guys, the first buy or sell of the day. Buy or sell. Will the Houston Texans make the playoffs in 2025? Ooh, man, our nation, it is time. Let's dive into it. Now, look. You got to give it to the Houston Texans. You got to give them credit for what they did on Sunday. They went to toe-to-toe with the mighty, air quotes, Jacksonville Jaguars and a backup quarterback. They had their backups against the wall, and somehow they walked out with a comeback win. That's not luck at all, baby. That's heart, that's resilience, and that's defense that flat out refused to quit. Guys, simply put, Houston balled out. Their defense, one of the top units in the NFL, stepped up and shut down the Jaguars' offense that had everything going for it. And that win, it says a lot about the culture that DeMeco Ryans has built in that locker room. But let's not sugarcoat it. Guys, the offense has been flawed all season long. Poor coaching decision, shaky quarterback play, and real lack of consistency playmakers have held this team back. They've been winning ugly, and in the NFL, that only gets you so far. But let's look ahead. Because obviously, they got to keep rolling. They got to keep stacking those wins. Guys, the Texans' remaining schedule gives them 3 very, very winnable games. Titans, Raiders, and the Arizona Cardinals. Those should be W's, but after that, it gets a little bit dicey. You got the Colts twice. You got the Chargers team that's heating back up. You got a Chiefs team that's always dangerous, and a Bills team that's unpredictable but capable of going off any given week. So here's how I see it. If the Texans can steal both matchups versus the Indianapolis Colts and take care of business against those 3 lesser teams, that gives them 9 wins on the season. And I think 9 wins might be enough to sneak into the AFC South championship spot. If everything breaks their way, they can definitely get it. But here's where I'm at. I am buying that they have a chance. I am buying that they could beat those 3 teams. I am buying that they could go toe-to-toe with the Indianapolis Colts, because let's just be honest, they're overhyped, overrated, underperforming as of late. But I'm selling that they actually make it. They've shown flashes, sure. The offense isn't built to sustain success over the second half of the season. The defense can only carry you for so long. And with how consistent their quarterback play has been this season, I don't see them putting together any kind of streak that takes close to the deal. Meanwhile, the Jacksonville Jaguars are collapsing. The Tennessee Titans look awful at best. And Indy, let's just be honest, they might be one of the overhyped 8-2 teams we have ever seen in years. So yeah, the door is open. Houston doesn't have the firepower to walk through it. So I'm buying the idea that they have a chance to make the playoffs. I'm buying the idea that it might come down to week 18. I'm buying the idea that it's going to get exciting. But ultimately, I'm selling the belief that they actually will make it. This team is on a rise. The team's got heart. but they're still a year away from really truly making that postseason push yet again. They just suffered through injuries. But what do you think, Man Hour Nation? Are you buying or selling the Houston Texans are a playoff team in 2025? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. I want to hear it. But remember, we're live Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. East Coast time right here, youtube.com/Man Hour. Now, this is a live interactive show, so jump into the chat and join the conversation. Mellow Mike says, we're missing the right side of our line. Starting quarterback, lost starters, starting free safety for the season, and still put belt to ass. Simply put, Mellow Mike says, we coming, baby. We here, we gonna be here, and we gonna be back to back to back AFC champions. Back to back to back. That is a cruise liner. That's a ship. That's a fleet of ships. AFC South ship going through Houston yet again. And Mellow Mike says, 8-Ball says, ask later. Reply hazy. OC has blonde moments. Mellow Mike is waffling around on his own team. Listen. Honestly, the schedule stacks up nicely for the Houston Texans. You play the Titans again, which you've already beaten them 26-0. Every indication says you're going to whoop that ass again. Yes, it is at Nashville this time. It is still a divisional game. You cannot sleep on it. And then you got the Buffalo Bills on Thursday Night Football in Houston. If I remember right, wasn't it last year that you all beat them on Thursday Night Football in Houston? Am I mistaken? And we've shown that the Buffalo Bills are a very, very beatable team. Notice that we haven't seen Alpha Rob for a long time. Somebody put a Amber Alert out for Alpha Rob. And then you got the Colts and Chiefs, right? Two very, very winnable games, but definitely going to be challenging playoff type tie games. And the Chargers and Raiders, winnable games. Yes, everything's stacking up for them to be nice. Everything's stacking up to be a nice little win. But guys, buy or sell. Do the Houston Texans make the playoffs in 2025? That is the real question. But guys, next up here on the buy or sell. It's buy or sell time, guys, for number 2. And tonight, we're diving into the question that every Fins fan wants answered. Miami Dolphins just put that belt to ass on the Buffalo Bills. So we got to talk about it, guys. Buy or sell. Will the Miami Dolphins finish above 500 this season? Guys, let's keep it real. Fins Nation is buzzing again after that huge win over the Buffalo Bills. They played their most complete game of the season. They look sharp, they play fast, and for the first time in a long time, they look like a team that actually believed yet again. Every headline going in that Bills game was negative. Chris Gear, gone. Jalen Phillips, traded. Tua's future in question. It felt like the whole organization was falling apart. Matter of fact, Tyreek Hill just became a DJ. But then kickoff happened. The Miami Dolphins came out swinging. They raced out to a 16-0 lead and played with fire that just haven't seen underneath Mike McDaniel lately. Tua wasn't perfect. Of course he wasn't, right? He had a classic of those head-scratching arm punt interceptions, but he was efficient and he controlled and made plays when they needed him to make them. Jalen Waddle showed why he's still the heartbeat of this offense, breaking off nasty route for a 38-yard touchdown. And Devon Achane, oh man, that man was electric. I think he scored 38 fantasy points. Two huge breakaway runs in the fourth quarter to seal it. The stars came out and they made a statement. This was the Miami Dolphins team that fans have been waiting for all season long and years. But now, let's look at it. The Miami Dolphins guys are sitting at 3-7, which means to finish to 500 or better, they can only lose one more game for the rest of the season. And when you look at their schedule, they got the Commanders, Saints, Jets, Steelers, Bengals, Buccaneers, and Patriots to end the season. Now, let's just be honest. The Commanders, not very good. That is a gimme, right? That is a toss-up. Who is going to win that game? The Saints and Jets, both beatable. Both can be scrappy, both very, very beatable. Steelers, they're built to beat teams like Miami. Ugly games, defensive first, grind it out. But Steelers cracks are starting to show as well. Bengals depends on the version of the Bengals that show up. Is it Joe Flacco that led that miracle win over the Steelers, or was it the Bengals from last week? Guys, the Buccaneers might be one of the best teams in the NFC right now, but injuries are starting to pile up for them as well. And the Patriots, sneaky good. And they always play the Dolphins tough in this late in the year, being the New England Patriots. So on paper, it is not possible. But it is going to take that same energy, same execution, and the same passion that they showed against the Buffalo Bills every single week. But here's where it gets tricky. Under Mike McDaniel, guys, this team doesn't string together back-to-back emotional wins. They simply just don't. We have seen it too many times. They look invincible one week, then flat, disheartened, or undisciplined the next week. You can't reach 500 playing that brand of football. You can't beat playoff caliber teams without consistency, and right now, that's what the Dolphins have been lacking all season long. Simply put, guys, Mike McDaniel is a horrible coach. He should have been fired last season. But here's where I'm standing, guys. I am buying that the Miami Dolphins have life again. They showed fight, they showed heart, and when it matters, I'm buying that they could potentially be above 500 team to end the season. I am buying that if they play like they did against the Buffalo Bills, they could. But I'm selling it. I'm selling that they will finish above 500, guys. It's simply just too steep of a climb with the remaining schedule. And until Mike McDaniel proves that he can get this team locked in for more than 1 week at a time, I'm never buying the Miami Dolphins, even at 0-0. But Man Hour Nation, what do you guys think? Are you buying or selling that the Miami Dolphins can finish above 500? Can Tua and McDaniels turn the season around? Or was Sunday just a one-hit wonder? Guys, comment down below. Let me know. We are live Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. East Coast time right here at Man Hour, youtube.com/Man Hour. Guys, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Remember, we are live interactive show. Ryan Stevens says, ask who is my favorite black quarterback? Patrick Mahomes. Mellow Mike says, AFC. Man, this conference has been more upside down than 2005 home alone. Broncos and Colts at the top. Chiefs and Texans still have a combined nine wins. Burrow returns. Rodgers flakier than a cornflake. This has been the most unpredictable AFC season of all time. Let's just be flat out honest. Now, to be fair, we at Man Hour Nation collectively in the comments expected the Broncos and Chargers to be competitors this season, to be playoff teams, right? However, we did not expect the Kansas City Chiefs to be where they're at right now. Actually, I kind of did. I told you guys they were going to start off slow. I told you guys they were going to be a 5-4, 6-3 team going into the bye week. I told you this. Also told you they're getting ready to go on a run too. However, nobody expected the Colts to be where they're at. Nobody expected the Steelers to be where they're at. Nobody expected the Bengals to be where they're at. Or how about the Ravens? Now, we need to discuss the Ravens coming up about how they're getting ready to go on a hot streak and be probably 12-5 to end the season. But yeah, this season is just crazy. And this is why we ultimately love football. Wes says the New York Giants coach should have not been fired. He was cooking until the rookies got hurt. Hang on, we gonna be talking about the Giants. Slow it down, baby. Best black quarterback I saw passing wise was Warren Moon. Vic was a scrambler. Randall Cunningham was a baller. Honestly, guys, let's be real here for like a minute. I hate when media, people, just everybody in general puts color on something. Like, who is the best black quarterback? This is the first all-black Super Bowl that we've had. Like, why? Why does it matter? Like, it simply doesn't matter. Now, I know what the normal white person says. Oh, I don't see color. We're all God's people. Yes. Cool. But you know what pisses me off the most is in I believe it was Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. Like, oh, this is the first all black or first all starting black quarterback matchup in the Super Bowl ever. I think it was, or something crazy, just like that. But now think about this. Let's flip that reverse. This is the first all white quarterback matchup we've had in 20 years in the NFL. Like it just, see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like, I hate the thought process of it. I strongly dislike the black and white thing. It just, It rubs me the wrong way. And just irritating. Irritating to say the least. But Man Hour Nation, it's time for the next buy or sell of the day. And we're going to talk about the big question in Buffalo. Guys, buy or sell, with the Buffalo Bills make the playoffs in 2025. Now, I know you watched this team all season long. Alpha Rob, where you at, buddy? You know exactly what I'm talking about. The Bills have played up and down to their opponents all year long. One week they look like Super Bowl contenders, and then the next week they look like a team that doesn't belong in the playoff conversation. And Sunday was another example. Guys, the Buffalo Bills as a team sitting at 6-3. They lost 3 of their last 5, and every one of those games looked different. They will blow out a top team like the Kansas City Chiefs one week, and they'll turn around and sleepwalk through a divisional game like the Miami Dolphins the next. We saw it against the Miami Dolphins. The Buffalo Bills started out flat, sluggish, sloppy, and out of rhythm. Their usual explosive offense was bottled up early. 4 of their first 6 possessions ended after 3 plays. The one decent drive put together ended up with a James Cook fumble inside Miami territory. Josh Allen didn't convert on 3rd down until the 3rd quarter. And when he finally did, it looked like maybe the spark was back, and then what happened next? Red zone interception. Later, a fumble. It was one mistake after another. Guys, the Buffalo Bills have talent. We all know that. We all know that they are arguably one of the best teams in the AFC. But they can't keep shooting themselves in the foot and expect to win games in December. Now, let's look at what's left. The Buffalo Bills got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Steelers, the Bengals, the Patriots, the Browns, Eagles, and Patriots again to close out the season. On paper, you might think, okay. The Browns and Bengals, that's 2 gimme games. But here's the reality. The Bills team has proven that they can lose to anyone. If they come out flat, if they commit turnovers, if they can't execute, it doesn't matter what side of who's on the other side, they're going to lose that game. That said, if they play like they did against the Kansas City Chiefs, guys, this is elite football. Balanced football, discipline, defense, energy, execution, everything clicked. It's a Super Bowl level team. But when they look like teams like they show up against the Miami Dolphins, they're not even a wild card squad. Matter of fact, they're a 1st overall pick in the NFL draft. That's really what it comes down to with Buffalo. Which version of the team are you going to get to see over the next seven games? Because the ceiling is very, very high. Josh Allen is a top-tier quarterback. That defense still has playmakers, and Sean McDermott knows how to coach when his back against the wall. But the floor, oh man, it is ugly. When the Buffalo Bills play bad, it is ugly. Turnovers, penalties, wasted drives. You can't win meaningful football games that way. So here's where I'm at. I'm buying that the Buffalo Bills make the playoffs. I'm buying that they still make a deep playoff run in them. This team has been punched in the mouth a few times this season, but that's when they played focus. When they're dangerous as anybody in the AFC, if Josh Allen can limit the turnovers, this offense can find some rhythm, and Buffalo will be right there when January hits. But, and it's a big but, they cannot afford another lazy performance. Every game from here on out has to feel like a playoff game. Every game from here on out, they have to play top ball. But Man Hour Nation, what do you guys think? Are you buying or selling the Buffalo Bills or a playoff team? Do you trust Josh Allen to lead them back into the postseason, or is the inconsistencies just too much to overcome? Drop your thoughts in the comments and comment down below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, guys. Hit the like button. Remember, share this with a couple friends as well, because we are live Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. right on East Coast time right here at youtube.com. Now, this is a live interactive show, so let's jump into your comments. We got to be frauds. What's the man talking about? Got to be frauds. Who is frauds? Daniel? Oh, sorry, Daniel. Did I miss something? Wes says it's all about the ratings. Oh, this is the black on black crime that we're talking about. I can't say that, can I? I'm too white to say that. Wes says McCormick is the common denominator in my opinion. What the hell are you talking about? Did I miss something? Mellow Mike says the Bills choking more than the Jaguars. Exactly. The Buffalo Bills are choke artists. Buffalo Bills is the classic football team that plays a team that's their size and then a team that's highly overrated than like them. They'll step up and they'll play against that higher competition. They will come up and step up there and play lights out when they're not supposed to win. But when you are supposed to dominate a team by 20, when it's just JC, when it's just P word, shit the bed. It just sucks, right? Just sucks. Well, Mike says Bill's going to be one pump chump in the playoffs. So this is my thought on the Buffalo Bills. Mellow Mike, I do not disagree with you that they will potentially be a one pump chump, aka one and done, aka wild card loss. But on the flip side of that, if they do beat the wild card team, if they win that wild card game, I can see them in the AFC Championship game. It's either one and done or champion. There is not going to be no divisional game or like loss or whatever. They're going to go to the moon or they're going to be one and done. Because I think that's just the type of team that they are, right? I think that's just who they are. And McDermott, right? McDermott is the common denominator in my opinion. And actually, Wes, my main man Carson Lang, back from Kansas, hopefully get to see him over Thanksgiving. Go shoot some birds. But he says with Brian Daboll gone, he's hoping that the Buffalo Bills fire their offensive coordinator. I can't think of his name right now at the top of my head and hire Brian Daboll back. Because when you think about it, when Brian Daboll was there with Sean McDermott, the Buffalo Bills were pretty damn good. They're pretty good. However, we'll see what happens. But I've been saying this for a very, very long time, Wes, that I think Sean McDermott is on the hot seat. I think Sean McDermott probably needs to win or shit or get off the pot time, right? Either win or go home. But guys, that is it for Man Hour today. We are at the 90-minute mark. Until then, guys, this has been live, raw, uncut NFL talk. We out.